Hey everybody, Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com, back to do another Talk to the Tape. Today we're talking Diontae Johnson. I did a video on him that became pretty controversial a few months ago, talking about his struggles in the punt return game, and then of course 2 weeks after I recorded that video, and Diontae Johnson clapped back to me on Twitter, if you follow in those spheres, he returns a punt for a touchdown against the Arizona Cardinals. But I will say, I want to give him credit for this, is why did you see that turnaround? Why did he improve later in the year after struggling, after taking over for Ryan Switzer when Switzer was placed on injured reserve? And it really comes back to the thing I talked about in the video. It was an improvement with his technique. So we're going to look at one play prior and a play where I was critical of Johnson for in that video, and then look at how things changed to kind of show the turnaround and really just emphasize that a little bit of technique goes a long way. So this punt here, end of the half against the Bengals, just having a poor time trying to judge the football, find the football. It ends up out in front of him, falling on the ball, nearly bobbles it, nearly dropped it. Could have easily been a turnover late in the half. That would have been an absolute disaster. So look at it here. You don't get a great look at either of these views, unfortunately, but Johnson finding the ball late, having to dive forward for it. Look at it from the aerial view one last time. Just playing with a poor technique, a poor basis, was consistent with several of the returns I point out in the video, which I'll have a link in the description, by the way, and that was the problem area that Johnson had. But the very next week, he started to work on that technique, improve his base and his balance, and became a much more effective punt returner. Here's a good example. The following week against Cleveland, open air punt return. He's going to be square to it. He's going to be under the ball. His weight's not going to be able to go forward, so as soon as he catches it, he's getting upfield and is now able to make space and be the playmaker he's certainly capable of being. So great base, makes one guy miss with a cut, makes a second guy miss, gets a 13-yard run back, a really nice return, help mitigate some of that net yardage, put the Steelers in good field position. So another look at it again. It all starts with a really sound base, getting square, finding the football, getting under it, securing it, and then getting upfield immediately. You do that, then you're good to go. Then you can become a playmaker. If you're not doing those things, it's going to sap your ability to make those kind of big plays. Another example from this Browns game, again, just for emphasis, you're seeing just the consistency. You can repeat this stance, maybe finds it a little bit late, has to move to his left, but again, staying under the ball, staying square. And now, as soon as he catches it, he's getting upfield. He's not rocking backwards. His weight isn't shifted backwards. He's now able to go forward. Granted, only a 1-yard return here, I think, ultimately, but I like the technique, and that's what matters when you play with good technique. You do that enough, eventually, when given the opportunity to make big plays, you will make big plays, and we'll check that out in the next clip. This, of course, is his 85-yard touchdown against the Arizona Cardinals in Week 14, and again, just the similar traits that we saw before. Staying square to the ball, finding it, getting under, and so you can go forward as soon as you catch it. That was the real key for Johnson. You see it here. Just looks a lot more comfortable. I mean, it's just really kind of about being loose, not being so kind of stiff and rigid and worried about your technique and focusing on it so much. Just looks a whole lot more natural in these past clips as opposed to the first one we checked out, and that allows him, as soon as he catches it, he's already going forward, able to make the first gunner miss, run the whole thing through, and then he gets to be a playmaker. He gets to have those great open field skills that got him drafted, that made him a playmaker at Toledo, made the Steelers want to draft him in the 3rd round. So really, again, all starts with that technique, and that's unlocking the playmaking ability that Diontae Johnson clearly has. Now I will say, and I got a lot of guff for it, which was to be expected. 2 weeks prior, I say Johnson's not doing well as a punt return, and he runs one back 2 weeks later, but even Diontae Johnson admitted that he had to focus on his technique, and I'll put up a picture here of what he said after that Cardinals game of kind of what the difference was for him to become that playmaker. And he told Danny Smith, or he told, what did he tell here? Steelers.com, I think, in a video. Danny Smith said they had a conversation. He says, quote, "Danny's been telling me I'm going to get one. I'm going to get one each week, and I'm telling him, I got you. I've been harping on myself about getting it right, catching the ball, staying in front, and just focusing on my little techniques, and it sure paid off today." So there's the quote, and that's what I talked about in that video prior, was that certainly he had the ability to be an explosive return man. He did it in college and, had success there, but it's all about that technique. And so when that technique and that talent come together, then you can make those big plays. So really it was that Johnson had to adjust things, and those are the things I talked about in that video, and once he does, it pays off. Want to look at one last clip from post-Cardinals game because I saw the same consistency. This is just a fair catch, but I like looking at a fair catch. Just, even when you don't have an opportunity to return, you still play with good technique, and Johnson certainly does here. Again, find the football, calling for fair catch, getting square, getting under it with a really strong base. So he's going to catch it, cradle it within his chest, not going to bobble, not going to be overextended. Just a really strong base here, And so you saw that even post Cardinals game when he wasn't having maybe as much success, a lot more fair catches late in the year, but that's okay. Just look at that base again, a lot more comfortable. He felt like square, feet apart, shoulder width apart. Just really good stuff all around. And so that's what I talked about in that video, was that he certainly was capable. He was a rookie. He was going to get better. He was getting out there mid-season. A lot on his plate. Obviously, a lot of context that needed to be added in that conversation, which I think and I hope I did appropriately. But once everything came together and he focused in on the technique, again, it unlocked that ability to be a big playmaker, and you saw him make big-time plays. And the bottom line is the future is very bright for Diontae Johnson. He had a great rookie year, all things considered. Led the NFL for rookie receivers in receptions, the first Steeler to do that in 80-something years, and a guy that's only going to get better heading into year 2. So really excited for Diontae Johnson. Clearly a guy that's working on his craft, and although he's probably not happy with me, and he probably won't see this video, I did want to point that out since I felt like it was a good opportunity to kind of review that and see what changed from where he struggled to how he got better and the results that come along with it. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, whether you're watching on YouTube, follow me on Twitter at Alex_Kozora, or follow on the website SteelersDepot.com. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.